What's good, everyone? It's your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room. And yes, I have one for you here. So we're going to go here now. And you clearly see the title. Listen, look, we're going to talk about the situation of step parenting here. And definitely, how things are going in the 21st century with this situation. You know, Step parenting has always been a part of society for quite some time. You used to have we do have TV shows with step parenting. Definitely, if you remember Oldie but Goodie, which was nationally known. Um, what was that? The Brady Bunch, things like that. But yeah. So this young lady here is going to come at an angle here that we don't hear from very often, which is a woman that's a step parent. Now we've talked about things on the internet here, stuff like that. I'm pretty sure you've heard things about how men shouldn't be stepfathers and stuff like that, and definitely in today's society, it's a bad deal. Things like we've heard all this stuff. So we're gonna go here now. We're gonna see what she has to say about being a woman that is a stepmother. So let's do this. Quarters, nickels, and dimes.
The mother of our children wants me to make it abundantly clear to the world at large that I did not birth them. And I thought that's fair. So let's talk about it. To clarify, I am a stepmom. The journey has not been an easy one. It has not been a straightforward one, but we're in a good place right now. I feel like you don't hear very much from us stepmoms on the internet, and there's a reason for that. Stepmoms live in
No, we
this
don't.
weird in-between space. You're expected to love like a parent, but you can never actually claim that role. You're supposed to show up, but don't actually step in. You need to care, but not too much. You need to give endlessly, but you cannot complain about being empty because you knew what you signed up for, which
So it's the same thing when a man is in the stepfather role and things like that. Because listen, look, these are just the facts. Regardless of how we feel about this, it's the same thing. And yes, as any adult male or female that has children or anything like that, you want to take care of your children. Definitely, if you're with someone that has children, stuff like that, you're going to, you know, apply your adult knowledge to said child. Definitely, if they're under your roof consistently, of course, you're building a relationship with this child or children, things like that. And it's hard to negate that. I can't understand how some people nowadays will sit there and be like, well, I get the the biological parents have their own sets of rules and morals and stuff like that, but you also have a broken home. And this is something that a lot of people are not willing to accept. That is a broken home that you guys have, and then you're inviting other people into the situation here. She's going to get remarried or he's going to get remarried, things like that. And these people do have a say so in the house that they live in, and also with people that live in their home as well. But I get it though, at the same time, it's like, this is somebody else's child and they have morals and standards that they want to instill in their children. But this is the issue with the broken home situation, that you this is the issue. This is the issue right here. Let's keep going.
is its own complete thing. I guarantee you, not a single person who's a step parent actually knew what they were signing up for because we don't talk about it. I thought I was signing up for all the things that we see in the movies, these beautiful blended families. Thought I was signing up to be a bonus mom, not their primary mom. They already
Brady
have one
Bunch.
and they don't need a new one. But an extra one. The reality is something much more nuanced. There are days when I am cooking dinner, when we're all snuggled on the couch watching movies, when I'm helping plan our daughter's parties. And then I remember that to them, I'm not mom. I am something else, something that borders on feeling temporary. And that's not their fault. As I said, they already have a mom. They don't need another one. But as a stepmom, that does mean that sometimes you find yourself in these positions where you are loving people who do not know what to call you, what to think of you, where to place you. The reason
Right. Same issue when you have a stepfather. And the the real issue here, and of course it's a little bit of difference in the dynamics when a man marries a woman and she brings her children into his household under his covering. Of course, as a man, you have certain, ways and also morals and things like that that you want to apply to your home and in your under your covering and stuff like that. And see, that's where the issue comes in. Definitely on the men's side when you have certain things like that. But of course, in the women's side, she's marrying into his covering. And that's the difference of the women and men's dynamic of step parenting to a degree. But I get what she's saying, because at the same time though too, it does work that way. You can sit there and not like it all you want to, but the broken home situation is what's causing the confusion. If you are under the same roof with the same person that you had your children with, that bloodline will be more it will work more better, because y'all can apply the same rules and morals and stuff like that, and the family will flow. But at the same time though too, a lot of y'all people are not picking the right people to have children with in some cases and things like that, and that's the reason why you have a lot of broken homes out here. But that's neither here nor there on that fact. But the issue here is yes, when people decide to bring in other people into their children's lives and stuff like that, definitely in these marriages and trying to blend families and stuff, people are going to have their own rules and stuff like that in their households. It don't make no sense. And then also too, definitely I can see how she's coming from a female side. The emotions definitely kick in a lot more harder for women than they do for men, as far as the closeness with children and things like that, because women are technically mothers because they give birth to children. It just is what it is. And yeah, I can see how she wants to nurture her stepchildren, but like she said, they they have a biological mother who's doing the nurturing, and that's where the complications come in at. Just like with the father, if he's not in the household and mom's remarried or whatever, and the biological father, is still giving the discipline to his children like he see fit as their biological father, that's going to create complications in that man's home for the discipline that he needs under his roof in his covering. So yeah, it is what it is here.
I think you don't see a lot of stepmoms admitting what it's honestly like to be a stepmom, is because the moment we admit that it's hard, we get labeled cold or jealous or bitter. Our collective cultural memory has the phrase wicked stepmother branded into it. But the reality is
that came from Disney with that the wicked stepmother and all that type of stuff. Real talk.
Step parenting, especially stepmothering, is one of the most emotionally complex roles a person can step into. Let me be clear. I'm not competing with the moms here, and I'm not saying that mothering is not difficult. When I talk about emotional complexity, the math is pretty straightforward. It's your baby, you love them, they love you. As a stepmom, I am constantly in a position where I am pouring into someone who, for reasons outside of their control, cannot ever fully pour back into me. I can't speak for all stepmoms, but I can say for myself, at the end of the day, I am not here to replace anyone. I am here because I am deeply, deeply, deeply in love with a man who has children. And loving him means loving them too, even when that love has no clear shape, no clear title, and no guarantee that it will be returned. That is the tightrope of being a stepmom. And most days, I'm just trying not to fall off.
So, yeah, this is where we at here, people. And I get 100% of what she's saying and things like that. And also, too, if you did listen to what I said, also it works on the same end when it's a stepfather in play. And it's a complicated situation, but at the same time though too, if the biological parents work things out properly and need to in order to have their children under the same roof and give them the same morals and standards that those two parents are collectively agreeing on to do so. It's going to be difficult with the step parent situation on both sides, whether it be a man or a woman, because like I said previously, you can't sit there and try to, if a chick remarries and stuff like that, and she brings her children under her new husband's covering, that's her husband. That's his house. That's his covering. That's, what I'm saying? He makes the rules in his home. And I know we don't like to, talk about things like this. And, people want to sit there and act like this shit is not true. But that's the reason why so much clash and so much friction and things like that with these step parent situations. Because if the biological parents, like I said, they have an agreement or understanding and they're raising their children how they want to raise their children, but you're bringing in alternate people, you're not together under one roof, under one covering. You're not together. So you're going out marrying or dating whatever other people, stuff like that. And you want your children to abide by the rules that the two biological parents have, but at the same time though too, you're in a whole nother marriage or something like that with other people that are not the biological parents of your child, but these children are living under these other people's rules and they're covering, and they're in the case of this lady here, her your feminine energy, the way she nurtures and stuff like that, these children, best way I could put it, I guess. But you get what I'm saying. You get the point. And this is just the facts here, man. Like, people really need to think all this shit through in the 21st century when y'all decide to, jump in relationships with other people and stuff like that, and y'all have children by other folks. And you think that these people are just not supposed to have any say so over these children that are living in their house. I can't grasp that. And that's where we need to start understanding. Y'all people need to start working this shit out with the biological folks that y'all have children with. Sorry, I know that. Hey, I know y'all don't like to hear it. Oh, these people were trash and these people were horrible people that I had children with. Then why the fuck you having children with horrible people? It makes no sense. And then at the same time, though, too, I know that certain relationships don't work out, but maybe as the parents, y'all need to sit down, bro, and have real logical conversations and understand where each other's coming from here. Because ain't no man just gonna let no children in his house run wild. Just like ain't no woman gonna sit there and pour her emotions and nurture and all that type of stuff in the children that don't respect her. And respect goes both ways, male, female. Nah, see, y'all want this fictional ass thought process of what it means to, live your life. And, well, it just didn't work out and this and that. It didn't work out, okay, in your relationship with that person. But now, though, you taking your children to another person, but you expect these people not to have any say so in the house that they live in on a consistent basis. That don't make no logical sense. That's why it's dangerous for the step parent shit in 21st century. It's really dangerous if the adults don't sit down and get a true understanding. Definitely men to men, women to women in these type of scenarios. I'm sorry, but this is just the truth out here. Hey, listen, look, she was talking some real shit, 10 toes down. I'm glad to see a woman finally come out here and say what it's like to be a stepmother. Real talk. This is new. Haven't heard any women come out and say what it's like to be a stepmother. Hopefully more women come out and let us know what it's like. But it is what it is, though. Shout out to all my subscribers. Mad love to y'all if you're new to the channel. Please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say,
and that, my friends, is the bottom line.
That, my friends, is the bottom line.